Criminal activities against paramedics and emergency services personnel in the country are concerning, with incidents ranging from assault to hijacking. Nelson Mandela Bay and the city of Cape Town are particularly alarming hotspots for these attacks. In recent data, Nelson Mandela Bay and Cape Town stand out as top contenders for such crimes, with a significant number of reported cases compared to other regions. And this trend underscores the urgent need for increased safety measures and support for emergency responders in these areas. Our reporter Sipha Kema is on the ground today to understand exactly what paramedics are going through. She joins us live now. Sipha, welcome. We come back to you again in this hour. If you can just paint us a picture, because essentially based on reports that we have read, have seen, have watched of what's happening on the ground, you are not safe. No one is safe. What is the situation on the ground at the moment?
Well, Masichaba, as you know, that emergency services personnel or paramedics are not armed when they have to go into communities. Well, they're not armed. So then they become targets for opportunists who wait on them. I mean, some go as far as making a prank call or a fake call, rather, getting the ambulance to come in. Now, where we're going now, you've seen situations such as this one, where an urgent call comes in to say there's an emergency, they need to get to a certain area, a certain place. This is what has happened, like such as now at this moment, where we're sitting at the back of an ambulance that is headed to Hoek Road, where we have been informed that a taxi has hit a tree and there's multiple patients. So in that case, that's when they jump in, make sure they've got all the equipment, and they go out, but not armed. And Hoek Road is not a hot spot, so they are not escorted. Where we're going right now is not a red zone, so they are not being escorted. But if we're talking about attacks, Mashaba, I mean, we've seen over just 20 attacks just within the last year in 2023 on paramedics, and they're saying that, enough is enough. They can't do their jobs. And it's not just specifically to the red zones or the hot spots, but in overall where they are seen as sitting ducks, basically. That can be, most of them, when they get robbed, they tell us that they get, robbed for some of the equipment. And you ask yourself, what is a person going to do with these equipment? But they find means and they sell them as well. Medication as well, cell phones, wallets are taken from them when they go on these scenes, or on call, as we're about to go on now.
So, Sipha, in light of what you've just told us right now in terms of some of these sort of fake calls that are received by our paramedics and EMS personnel, are there any measures in place to sift these phone calls and to confirm their originality?
Unfortunately not, Masichaba. There's no way to authenticate whether a call coming in or a WhatsApp text message coming in is actually an authentic one, unless the paramedics themselves go on the scene and find out, which unfortunately by then is too late, because by the time they get there, if it is a prank call or a fake call trying to lure them onto that scene, then of course then they become victims of crime. But also in some cases is that they actually hijack the vehicles, and you would want to question how does one hijack an ambulance, but they do, especially in those hotspot areas like your KwaZakele, your Zwide, your Motherwell, your northern areas as well, which is the areas that the paramedics have to have escort to go in.
Have we heard from the police in this event, Sipha, at all? I mean, what do they have to say about these alarming statistics and the reports that we've been getting with regards to the safety of our EMS emergency personnel, excuse me?
Well, I mean, the police service in Gqeberha, they have their hands full, Masichaba. As you would recall, over the week we have had a focus on crime in the Nelson Mandela Bay. We looked at crime in schools, crime in clinics, and now crime affecting emergency services personnel. There's only so many resources to go around, and that is the problem there, I think, with not having enough boots on the ground, as well as resources in terms of police vehicles to get to those urgent areas, or rather hotspots, on time. Because last week we were actually at a school, one of the high schools in KwaZulu, where we were told that they had 2 attacks 15 minutes apart. They were robbed. The school was robbed 15 minutes apart from each other. So you can just imagine when something like that can happen. It shows just how bad the crime in the area is, and hence we say that South African Police Services do acknowledge that these crimes are getting out of hand and targeting schools, targeting healthcare facilities, targeting emergency services. But unfortunately, it's having the boots on the ground as well as vehicles readily available.
Thank you so much for your time, Sipha. Please do stay safe out there.